Have you ever been in a class, or worse yet, taught a class, and been confronted with a PowerPoint like this? Boring, not so good, not going to hold much attention. PowerPoints ought to look more like this, and you ought to be able to use features like, well, disappear, or bring some things in. Maybe list your points one by one. Maybe even put a little animation in. And collect all kinds of interesting visuals to get the attention of your audience. In this video, we will see how PowerPoint animation can be used to do all of these things relatively simply and add a lot of life to your next presentation. Okay, let's take a look under the hood. Let's see how animation works, what you can do with it, and we're going to use the example of the slides that I just showed you to see just how we made all that good stuff happen. Here we are back at my PowerPoint. And the first thing we want to do is take a look up at the top of the menu. And our menu gives us a lot of options, but one of those options that a lot of people miss is animations. They think, well, you're going to turn everything into cartoons. That's beyond me. I don't need to do that. I'm a serious professor. But no, animations are ways that you can move and materialize and generally control the visuals that are in front of your audience. And all right, you take a look at it. You can choose to do a different kind of entrance. For example, we can just have something appear, or we can kind of fade it in, or we can fly it in, or we can do a grow and turn. Let's do a grow and turn to our introduction. Bang. Okay, that was kind of interesting. Now let's go back. And we've got a lot of other things that we could do. We could just do some things to emphasize that introduction. Maybe brush it with color. Okay, so that gives you something that's kind of sitting there, and then suddenly you get a stroke of color. Or maybe we could underline it. Okay, that is something that can happen at a click, or we can set it to happen however we want it to happen as we move along. You see there's a little 1 up there. So we now know that this is the first thing that's taking place. Now I'm going to put it back because I'm going to look at a different set of options. We've emphasized and we've used entrance. Down here is exit. And exit is kind of cool because exit is one in which you are able to have something there at the beginning, and then you make it disappear and you move on to the rest of your presentations. That's exactly what we did with introduction before. And let's see if we can come up with let's use random bars. Before we were using something like a wipe, but this time let's use random bars. And as you see, it just disappeared. How to go off in 3 easy steps. You remember that we had that come on board as a wipe. A wipe is one of those ways of bringing things on, but we have a lot of control over these wipes. Take a look over here at the top. If you go over and you're going to find animation pane. If you click animation pane, you're going to see that all of the animations in this particular slide are listed right here. We can change their order. We can move them around. We can make them happen when we want them to happen. We can change the type of animation that we want. Let's take a look. We're looking at how to golf in 3 easy steps. Now, if I open this up, little arrow on the right. All right, it's set to start on a click. So basically, I'm controlling how these effects take place. Now, over here, if I go down, I've got effect options. And if I look at it, I can have it come from the left. I could come from the right. I could come from the top or come from the bottom. Let's move it from the left. And there we go. All right. And we're not going to use any sound with this, but we have a choice down below in how we deliver it. And I've chosen by letter, but you could have it come on all at once or it come on by word. I'm kind of going for effects in this particular example. If I were giving a regular presentation, I might simply have it come on all at once and keep it simple. But you do have options. It's good to know them. You also have timing. And timing can be very important because timing allows you to control how much time is spent in doing the effect. In this case, I've set it at 2 seconds. I could make it come in at up to 20 seconds, very slow, or I could have it happen really quick. So you've got a lot of choices there. But we're going to stay with 3 seconds and click OK. And here it comes again. And it's just kind of sweeping across. So that's kind of interesting. And at this point, we're looking at the screen that we work with. The things below, I know the rules, use proper equipment, join a nice screen. If you're presenting it, they're not going to appear until you want them to appear. So if we go down and take a look at know the rules, we see that it's set at fly in. Now, we can have things come in a variety of ways. I kind of like fly in. It's a lot of fun because you can move it. You can have it come from the top. You can have it come from the bottom, just like we saw in the previous effects. And I'm going to close that up for right now. Okay, let me show you something that you can do while you're in animation. If we go right to the top, after we've gone through, we've completed our animations, we've inserted the pictures and so on that we want to have, we can click play from. And that allows us to present our whole page in the order that we want to present it in. Get a nice effect. Let's move down to our next slide and see if we can't come up with something a little different. All right. Remember in this slide, we had several different things going on. And let's just walk our way through that slide again, because as you see over on the side, we have animation. And we can play each of the things that happened again. We can select and play right from the start, or we can select and play at any point. But we're going to select and play right from the start. And we'll see just what's going to happen. Okay, so we introduced each of those. You'll see each of the images has a number attached to it. And that number, as you click on the item, you get a highlighting over here on the side. So if I click on the ball, there's an 8, picture 8, and it's the 3rd. I can change that sequence just by moving these ups and downs around over here. Okay, I'm going to show you one last little bit of magic with the animations, and that is, how do you get something to drive across the screen? Well, that's actually a lot easier than it looks. So I need to move out a little bit to let you see what's been going on there. And I've kind of hidden this guy over here. This is got a little turf left over from an earlier example. But this is our guy who is clearly not on his way to go golfing, but we want him to run across the screen. But we don't want him to stay in the screen after he runs across. So how do we do that? We put him over to the side, and then we go to animation, and we've set him to fly in. And if I look down here on the side, he's graphic, he's number 2 in the sequence, and graphic 4 is how they describe him. But he starts on a click, and here's his effect options. He's coming from the left. If we want to, we could add a little bounce to it. Let's do that. See whether that makes any difference. And there's a variety of things. We could add sound. I generally don't find adding sound works for me really well. The sounds are all a little squawky, so I don't recommend that. Timing, though, is a great place to play around. We've got him coming across in 3 seconds. We could have him racing across in 2 seconds if we wanted, or meandering across. Let's put him across very slow. All right, now let's click OK. And there he goes. All right, so that is how we use animation. It's really straightforward. Remember, you've got 3 different categories to choose from in introducing or taking things off or emphasizing. And you can use any of these, and you can take them off and put other things on at any point until you have a presentation that looks the way you want it to look. Okay, and we get our opening page, and this is the introduction. The introduction won't show in our normal presentation, but I'm just trying to make clear on each page what the function of the page is. This is an example of the disappearing animation that we looked at earlier. Kind of handy. There it goes. Now the first part should come on. This is the title of our series, How to Golf in 3 Easy Steps. And we get started with a little animation. Know the rules. Use proper equipment. And join a nice green. So these are 3 things that we want to include in our introduction that might be important to our audience. Okay, content 1, you'll see it's going to disappear, and we're going to focus on proper equipment. No, he's not that proper in his equipment. Let's see if we can do better. A golf ball, handy. Golf clubs, very handy. And of course, appropriate attire, because golfing in most countries is a very social activity, and what you wear on your feet, on your gloves, your hat, they're all part of saying, you know, you're part of a particular social group. So these are your basic pieces of equipment that you'll need. All right, the second slide talks about the rules of golf. So content number 2. And okay, we've got a nice cart to ride in. And we're bringing up the rules so that the group to which we're presenting can see the rules as we're speaking about them. But they're small enough that they're probably not going to try and read these too much, but it kind of illustrates the sequence of rules that you need to know. And then content 3, the nice green. And here comes our golf ball. Bang. And here's our very social people getting along and having a great time golfing. And then finally, we have the conclusion, which is that golfing is big fun if you have the right equipment, if you know the rules, if you have a good place to go. Let's go golf.